Hi, I'm Michael Brauer, and I have a new exciting plugin to share with everyone. It's a co-design with Kazrog, my favorite people, and it's the MHB Green, based on a compressor that I fell in love with some 20 years ago. I came from Australia. The great thing about this is that it's way more versatile than the original one, but the sound is exactly the same. It's really mind-blowing that they were able to emulate it, because it's such a complex compressor with so many levels of saturation. So what I'm going to do is just give you a quick overview, little how to drive this little baby, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. So one of the great things that I loved about the sound is that when you plug the unit in, it had a certain amount of saturation. What I didn't like about it is that it started off with a certain amount of saturation. So what we've done here is made it way more versatile. So here's the guide. This used to be the input. It is now the amount of saturation. So you can go from clean to heavy to like crazy. And when you go to that, you definitely want to make up the gain. But if you want to know what it sounded like, this is the 12 o'clock position is how my unit sounds, the hardware version of this. The default already sounds, that's the setting for the default. And here we go, that's the default setting. So you've got your amount of saturation here. This is the magic knob. This is the output, but unlike any output you've ever heard. As you bring it out, the sound just gets better and better. So that's your output. You have a choice of your attack and release when you have this knob set to manual. And you have your attack, your release, and then you have your threshold, which is up here. It's exactly the way I have it on the hardware. But there's also a great cool sound, which is you can bypass the compressor chain and just listen to the line amp. So you're hearing the tubes, you're hearing the transformers, but you don't have the compressor in the chain. You can see that it gets grayed out. So that's the position. You also have a choice of different presets that's exactly like my unit. So you've got your attack and release, different types of settings there. So manual. Then we added a couple of really, really cool things. One, if you click on the MHB, you get your gain in and your gain out. You can link it, of course. So if you link it, they go down and up. You have your choice of wet, dry. And here, something that my unit didn't have, which I felt was important, is to have a knob that basically gives you warmth. What Shane and Devin did is just brilliant. I mean, it's a warmth that is just warms up that mid-range in a really nice, subtle way, very, very musical way. I love this little add-on. And then we have what's called, when you open it up, it's called analog entropy, which is something that Shane is now incorporating to all future Kazrog plugins. And as you know, when you've got a left and a right, quite often it's identical. But what we've done is we've made it so that there's a randomness between the left and the right. And it's a design that he's just recently come up with that is now being introduced with the MHB Green. And so what you do is, over here, it goes from 0%, where it just feels like almost identical, to 100%, where it's this subtle width, and it's like an analog type of emulation. But instead of having to come here to it, all you got to do is go to the light, and you start, as the light gets brighter, it gets wider, or duller, it goes back to 0. So that's a cool little add-on. And then this originally, I was thinking about maybe putting all my presets in, but it became a bit of an issue, so it really doesn't do anything. I mean, these were originally for testing all the tubes, so there's no tubes to test. So it's going to stay just the way it is. And then over here, you have your choice of all. You got me, you got Bruce, Chris, Devin, Dweezil, Eric, Reed, Kazrog, Marcella, Pete Lyman, Simon J. Vance. It's going to be, some of my favorite people I asked to put some plugins together. So there it is in a nutshell. It's a lot of fun. Definitely play with the saturation and the output. You'll be surprised. And then for putting it to amp, it sounds really great across the stereo without the compressor in it. But the compressor is a very good sounding compressor. So I hope you guys like it.